Tyler, Kaylee, Sadie, Hope. This is going to be different because, as your grandmother, I've always told you stories and we've gone to the movies together. But since you moved to Charleston, I thought we would try this and it might be fun for us. So, if you will listen, I will get to a story in a few minutes, and it's one I think we can all agree that we all like. Um, I know that we all love animals. We have dogs and we've had different pets. Tyler, you've had a dragon. Um, you've saved birds, Kaylee. You've done other things, and I know that you're 13 and you want to be a veterinarian. So I hope you're going to like the book that I've chosen to read for us today. When I was younger, your great grandmother gave me a gift for Christmas. It was a snowball, a lot like this one, but it was black down here and it was very plain. There was no color, but there was still a penguin inside. I kept that snowball for years, and the water drained out of it, and it became old. And in moving, as you know I do occasionally, I lost it. But in 2012, I saw this one with a penguin inside, a little bit more colorful, and I bought him, and I've had him ever since. And I love penguins. Do you? We haven't talked about penguins very much. Are they pets you would usually have? I know we watched a movie together. I think it was Mr. Popper and his penguins. And those penguins were in the house, weren't they? But I don't think usually people have them as pets. Have you ever seen one? I haven't seen any except on TV and in movies. Um, I know that there's a movie out, coming out today, in fact, to help raise money for penguins because they are endangered. You know what endangered means. It means that penguins are in trouble. They're having trouble living in their natural habitat because the ice caps are melting and they live in Antarctica. And the food they catch can't live in the water because it's getting too warm. So there is a movement out to save the penguins. And I'm not going to advertise for the movie or any other place, but I did recently, before I thought about reading this book, I bought one of these to help save the penguins. And I think the money, I'm pretty sure, goes to a charity to help them. So those are things you can think about. And when we see each other, we'll talk about the movies and Happy Feet. I think we saw that one together years ago. We'll talk about penguins and where we see them and if we think they would be good pets. The book I want to read to you, or part of it, is called Penguins, and it's written by Valerie Bowden, and it is a wildlife book, and it's real. Do you know what that means? It's a true story. It's not made up. We could take this penguin and make up stories about him, and we can do that when you come to visit, and it will be fiction. But this book is about real penguins and their facts, and it's a true story, and it's nonfiction. And I know in school that you have covered some of that because of your ages and the grade you're in. Here's a beautiful picture at the beginning to show us that penguins love to swim, but they have feathers. So what kind of animal are they if they have feathers? They're birds, aren't they? And they love to swim. They can swim 18 to 20 miles per hour if they're in a good place where they like to swim. Penguins are birds, but penguins cannot fly. They like to swim instead. There are 17 different kinds of penguins. Most penguins have bodies that are shaped like bowling pins. We've been bowling. Do you remember what they look like? The bowling pins? They kind of wobble. And so we like to watch penguins walk. Penguins also come in many different sizes and shapes. Some of the penguins are very big, and they're called emperor penguins. And they grow to about 4 feet tall. The smaller penguins may be 3 feet tall, and they have all different kinds of names. All penguins live in the southern hemisphere, in Antarctica, where it's very cold. They can play and they can slide on their bellies, and they make friends. You see that picture? And they get married and they stay together for life. And because they're birds, the mother lays eggs, and sometimes the father sits on the eggs, which is unusual. But most of the time, the mother. But they do stay married for life. They spend a lot of time swimming, and that's where they find their food, in the very dark, cold waters of Antarctica. When penguins are on land, they gather in big groups. They're very social. They like to talk, and sometimes in the movies we've watched together, they sing, and they dance, and they play. So they're very social. And here's another picture of them getting together in a group. So this is a true book. Remember, it is nonfiction. Here is a family of penguins. And it's true. And there are many facts about penguins that I've read to you today. And this is a good book. It's put out by Amazing Animals, which is under the Wildlife Kingdom category. So sometimes money that we spend on penguins or books goes to the foundation to save the penguins from extinction. And we know that extinction means that if we don't take care of our climate and recycle, if we don't keep the waters clear and cold, the penguins can't find fish, and then they would become extinct. The projection is that in about 40 years, 75% of the penguins could be extinct or endangered. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about our story today. I hope you remember this story and the nonfiction book that I read to you today about penguins. When we see each other, maybe we'll talk about how we can save the penguins.